Welcome to the Kameron Show. I'm your friend, Kameron Tyler, and I'm so happy you're here today. We're coming to you from Dude IDK Studios in Denver, and I'm so happy to be welcoming today's guest friend. We've been friends for over a decade and a half, and like me, she's a true Renaissance person. Her name is Taylor Fraser. Welcome.
Thanks, Kameron.
I'm so happy you're here. I was going to try to describe you, but I'm going to let you do that. And then I'm probably going to have to add on because, as you know, here, my first question is always, if you had to, she's reaching for her phone, if you had to describe yourself in 10 words or less to introduce yourself to someone who doesn't know you, how would you do that?
Okay, I am referencing notes here.
I
And the
love
reason
that.
I had a hard time with this question because I feel like between when we met and now, I'm a very different person than
1000%.
I was. And
Same.
So yeah, no, totally. And we should be, right? Because we're growing, we're evolving.
Yeah, thank God.
But, yeah, that's a good thing. But here's what I came up with that I think is still accurate that depicts my past self and my current self. So
Okay.
I wrote down driven, kind, passionate, storyteller, and community builder. Do you feel like that's like kind of ish in the right
Yeah,
realm?
I mean, at your core, yes. You're also so many things. I mean, like I said, you're a Renaissance person like me. This woman directs, produces, writes,
Yeah,
travels. We're gonna talk about the podcast that she did. You've been a lot of things, but I think at your core, like when I think of you, I think warm, social, community. You're very good at, and this is something that I always admire in someone, you're very good at keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on with your friends. You're very caring. You're very open.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think that's a great description to set the tone before we dive into all our subjects. If you were to close your eyes and if you could visualize the aura, what's the aura in the studio today?
The aura in the studio or my aura?
Both.
Both.
Okay. What's the aura right now?
As I've been the general. Oh gosh, I don't know. The vibe is cool here though. For those of you who have not been here, but for me, I've listened to your past episodes, and so I was like, I've already been thinking about this question for a while.
Well, for you.
In the past, I would have said my aura was red because I was just extremely driven and ambitious and always working on something and a million goals, and I've kept a bucket list since I was 14 years old. I've done almost all the things, and there's almost 500 things on the list. Like, I think it would have been red. And recently, in the last year-ish, I would say it's turned to blue. I think I am calming down. I'm chilling out. I am intentionally working less and taking better care of myself and trying to just lean into, like, what if I was a happy person instead of a person who had, like, a lot of darkness surrounding them? What if that was the thing? And it is nice. And I know that vibe doesn't last forever. We have ebbs and flows in our lives, and things get really bad and then they get good again and then they get really bad. But right now I am in a season that feels just good, and I am trying to indulge and relax into it because this doesn't last forever, and for now I just want
a calm blue. And you know what a calm blue reminds me of? The ocean.
Yes.
And
where I spend a lot of time these days.
You spend a lot of time because you just got a Hawaii house.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yep. So I split my time between Colorado and Hawaii. And so I'm officially a snowbird in my 30s. Like, I would have never in a million years thought that would be possible. But it is. And here we are.
But you know, the thing about millennials is we've earned it.
Yeah,
And I don't care what anybody thinks. We've earned it. You can become a snowbird whenever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And I plan on taking advantage of that and visiting in Hawaii.
Oh, you totally should. And I think if you're a creative person, where there's a will, there's a way, right? Like,
oh, for sure.
I think a lot of people have this idea of, like, my first home has to be a beautiful giant mansion where I can house 9 children. And it's like, well, no, your first home can be like my home that's 900 square feet in a funky neighborhood, and it's funky, but it's cute and it's fine.
Oh my God.
And it's
and I love
and
your
then
house.
if you rent it out, then you have income that lets you live in other places part of the year if you want to. So, like, I don't don't know. You just have to be a little bit creative.
Well, that's the other thing I really admire about you. You are a very creative person. You think outside the box. You, like me, have decided really not to follow a traditional trajectory for our 20s and 30s. And it's always kind of been what feels right to you. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
You do the same thing. And it is nice to have a friend that is on a similar trajectory, because sometimes I think our culture, society can make us feel like maybe we're a little bit crazy for doing that, but I don't think we are. We're just following our bliss, figuring out what works for us, and if something different works for you and I, then our friends, that's okay.
Well, and that's exactly it. I mean, we can both list a lot of things that we've done that a lot of other people would be too scared to do or don't think that they could do. But
that's true.
Like you said, it's like, that's perfect. When there's a will, there's a way. If you're a creative person, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
One of the things that I want to discuss is something that you've done that nobody else that I know has done. And this is your podcast, Foreward.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating because even earlier when you mentioned the podcast, I said, you did a podcast? Let me tell you why this is crazy. I was literally on this podcast, but when I think about it, it was so creative. It was so outside the box. It was so unique that I don't even sometimes think of it as a podcast as much as it was like an audio drama.
It was exactly an audio drama. So I don't think you're saying that as an insult of like, it was really bad. I didn't even remember.
Oh, no.
But the way I describe it to people, it's an audio drama, which used to be a radio play, used to be a thing like back in the day. And normally it's like not a thing anymore. But imagine you're like watching Grey's Anatomy. You just can't see the screen. So you're hearing every voice, and you're having actors and they're talking to each other, and there's sound effects, and you can hear the background of like, oh, I wonder if they're in this space or blah, blah, blah. Like that's what it is it's a radio play. And
exactly.
I didn't know anyone who'd ever made one either, but it was really cool because I got to recruit 70 actors.
Oh my God.
And it was during COVID, so you couldn't put them in the same room. So I would be in the next room, and you acted in the podcast. If you remember this, we would go back and forth lines together. So if maybe you were playing a police officer and I'm playing a teacher or something, and we're having a conversation, and you didn't know what the final thing was going to sound like because I am not the teacher actor, someone else is, right? So when you finally listen through, it's like, oh, weird, I'm talking to a person I've never actually talked to in real life because we put your lines together. So everybody put an enormous amount of trust in me because I could have done something really not good. And you would have had no control over that because you had no idea until literally the day that it was released what it was going to sound like.
And how many episodes was it? 10 episodes?
Something like that. I can't remember, but something like that.
It was around 8 or 10 episodes that happened, and so this was a lot of work. And like you said, this was during the pandemic. When I talk about being creative and when you want to do something, when there's a will, there's a way. This is the perfect example. Taylor felt very passionately about telling this story, and also that reminded me when you said the police officer, I played 2 roles because I played a police officer and I played Sawyer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I totally forgot till you said that, and I was like, I was a cop. I really switched it up. I did 2 different voices and everything,
and you wouldn't know that it was the same person.
You would never know.
It was really interesting watching you switch characters so dramatically.
I can drop my voice pretty low. I hate to do it.
You should do it so they can hear you.
Well, if you want to hear it, go listen. Is it still up, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's still up. It's Foreward, but not like forward and reverse. Foreward like the forward in a book.
Yeah.
So Foreward. This is just such a creative thing. And like you said, we don't really have radio dramas anymore. If you go online, there are some fictional podcasts that are like this, but not a lot. And I think it is amazing. What a great thing to listen to, like when you're in the car. And also, there was a lot of substance in every single episode. This was crazy. So for me, I actually did go to your house. You're right. Like I went to your house, and that's because at the same time you were helping me produce my audiobook.
Yeah.
So if you've listened to the Lucas with the K audiobook, Taylor is the producer of that audiobook. And that was because when I got done with that, I was like, I do not have the bandwidth to produce this. And I trust Taylor. And thank God during the pandemic, you already had this studio set up in your house.
And what a cool experience, and what an honor that like I might be the only one making a guess here that has ever heard you read it out loud live the entire thing. And that was extremely cool.
Oh my
to
God,
get to have that experience with you.
I've never thought of that, but you are the only one.
Yeah, like to me that felt like that for me creating my own project is extremely vulnerable to share it with somebody for the first time, and the fact that I got to be one of those people, at least in the audio form, that I got to be one of the first people to hear it in that way. It was really cool.
You were, and that is how you know I'm comfortable with you, because it's a very vulnerable thing to not only read something that you wrote, but then when you're doing an audiobook, and I'm sure you remember as much as I do, there are so many times when you're working with someone that you have to stop because it's hard to read for an hour straight. You mess up, and this has to be someone that you're not embarrassed to mess up in front of. And fortunately, no, I'm so comfortable with you. It was never gonna. But anyway, I did go to your house to record my parts of Foreward, but this was so creative that you actually had a lot of people recording their parts at their own house.
Yeah, that's true, because I had some out-of-state performers and some out-of-country performers because I needed somebody with a certain accent. And so I worked with a lot of professional voiceover actors as well who had their own spaces where they could record, or if they didn't, then I taught them how to create a space in their own home so that we could record it. Then they would send me the files, because I'm not going to use a Zoom recording, like it's bad audio quality in the actual podcast. So anyway, it was a huge orchestration, but it turned out really cool. I think I was proud of it.
It's amazing. It's one of the most amazing creative things that any of my friends has ever done, I will say.
Thank you.
Like, absolutely. And to your point, you didn't sacrifice quality, because you were very like, nope, this is how you need to set up the space. This is the quality that I need. And you put in so much work. I mean, you wrote the whole thing. You produced the whole thing.
It's like thousands
you edited
of
the whole thing.
Scripts.
So anyway, I still think that Foreward is one of the most creatively amazing things. Very inspiring. I think one day I would try producing that. I think I was actually thinking this. I'm listening to a podcast right now, and I forget what it's called, but it's the TC Turner Classic Movies. They have a podcast, and every season they focus on something new. And they a couple years ago they did a season that I'm listening to now that was about Lucille Ball.
Oh yeah.
And part of it is they talk about radio shows that she did.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a coincidence, because I'm about to talk to Taylor.
I wonder if they're still available. It would be interesting to listen to one from like the back in the day, like the original one. I never have. I should have. It would have been good research, but I guess I just kind of winged it, because my career, my first 10 years of my career was all in film. And so I felt like I was prepared to do this because I had all this background working in film. And then in more recent history, I do more like marketing stuff, but it just, I don't know. It was the right time. I'd been laid off from my job in marketing. And then my boss came back a week later and was like, Taylor, we need you. Will you come back? And I'm like, you want to pay me like way more than you were? Because if not, I can get unemployment. So I am use that money to make a very good podcast that I've been talking about for years. And I thought, this is the time, like now or never. So I did it, and I told a very personal story in doing that.
Yes.
And it was extremely cathartic for me in a lot of ways. And that it's to this day still like interesting to me. Some of the ways doing that project helped me like heal and like move forward in my life. Forward.
Imagine that. No, I relate to that very deeply, because the first book I wrote was Lucas with a K. A lot of stuff from my personal life. The second book I did, obviously very personal. It was a literal memoir. And I get that kind of thing can be cathartic. For anyone who is not familiar with Foreward, what is Foreward about?
So when I was a sophomore in high school, I survived a school shooting. And the idea behind the podcast is, the news cameras and all that, they come in like the day of and they document what's happened. And then it just all disappears. And the world goes, okay, well, I guess that's over. That was sad. And there's actually like a huge amount of disturbing. There's a whole world that occurs in the next 10 years for all of those people's lives beyond the event. So the shooting is one of maybe the first and second episode or something. It happens like really quickly in the story, intentionally, because I wanted to get it out of the way, because that's not really what it's about. I wanted it to be about what happens next, and how do people in this small town, I lived in a small town in the mountains, how do people cope with like an extreme tragedy? And whether or not you were in the room that day, or you were the parent who was like trying to get to your kid and couldn't get to your kid, or you're the local restaurant owner that employs a bunch of high school kids, like within a bunch, like it doesn't take many degrees of separation to have been hugely impacted by it, and it doesn't go away. It impacts the rest of your life to go through something like that. And so I wanted to tell the story of the aftermath, which is why it's called Foreward, like the forward of a book, but also like moving forward. I did not anticipate that I would be moving forward by creating the podcast. That was so kind meta. Of right. Yeah. I thought it was just going to be about like what happens next. I didn't anticipate like
that was part of it.
But it was part of it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I hired someone to play the shooter, and it was very weird and unsettling and amazing. Like, so I told you that yesterday I volunteered at a jail. And
yes. I'm also kind of curious about that.
To preface that, I have always been really bad at forgiveness, and I harbored a lot of anger after the shooting happened. But it was really interesting trying to get into the shoes of the real shooter. I did a huge amount of research on like who he was and what his life looked like before this day, and what his mental illness looked like, and what it might have felt like to hear voices in your head and to feel like not know what's real and what's not. Like, I really got to know. I read every police report. Like, I learned stuff that I didn't necessarily want to know, but it was interesting to know. So I wrote the character. So I like put myself very much in his shoes of what I imagined maybe he was feeling and thinking. And then this man comes into my house who is kind of a method actor, so he very much like went into character and stayed in character.
Oh my God. This is like giving me anxiety.
I know. So he was in the next room because it was COVID, so we were not in the same room, but we were reading lines back and forth. So it's as if I am talking to literally the shooter, and my brain had a hard time separating that this man is an actor. He's not really the guy, but I have written his lines, and I'm directing him how to talk, how to feel, how to be as close to literally my nightmare as he possibly can be. And he was a really good actor. So we did the scenes, and I was just like shaking by the end of like, we did it like 3 times, and it was like, he was so good. And then at the end, we wrapped up, and he said, "Do you need a hug?" And I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah. And like, it felt really strange to be hugging someone that, like, in my brain, I still hadn't shifted out of this acting mode. And I'm like, I'm hugging this person who caused so much grief in my own family, in my own community. And obviously it wasn't him, but it was just a weird...
It's a weird blurring of lines.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very strange blurring of lines.
And it was like something you couldn't do in therapy. I've done a lot of therapy, highly recommend therapy.
For sure.
But you can't do that in therapy. You can't role play your own source of your PTSD.
Oh my God.
You know?
Yeah, that is about as close as you could possibly come to having a face-to-face confrontation.
Yeah.
And even though it was all those years later, like you said, it's not something that just goes away.
Right.
So it's still living somewhere in there, and I can't think of a better way to exercise it to the surface.
And the man who was the shooter at my high school killed himself that day. And so there won't ever be an opportunity for me or anyone in my community to have a conversation with him.
No.
Not that that's something that would be interesting to most people, probably.
Yeah.
But it's something that I like think about sometimes. And I think maybe this prison volunteering has been another like next chapter for me of dealing with that. Of like, I won't ever get to have a conversation with him and be like, what was that? But I'm volunteering with all of these people who are currently incarcerated, and I'm finding myself feeling compassion for them and empathy for them.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of them have made similar mistakes to what me and anyone else have made. They just got caught, and I didn't. Not that I did anything as extreme as the person that I'm talking about, but I've also been depressed, and he was clearly extremely depressed.
Totally.
Like, I've also had struggles where my brain was thinking things that were not good, and I had resources, and he didn't. And he made a horrible choice because he may have not. I don't think he probably thought about the fact that maybe he did have another choice. I don't know. No. Anyway, it's just
no. that is so fascinating, and How did the volunteering come to happen? Because when you told me this yesterday, this is the first that I was hearing about it, and it's because I texted you and you said, "Oh, I hope you don't think I was ignoring you. I didn't have my phone all day because I was doing this.
I was in jail."
Yeah. How did that happen?
I've done it 3 times, and the first 2 times were in women's prisons, and then yesterday was the first time I volunteered in a men's prison, which was a what do they call it? When it's like a full lockdown
Oh, like maximum
yes,
security?
maximum security, which I did not realize until I was done with the day, and I'm glad I didn't know that because it would have freaked me out probably. But anyway, someone that I know via an old job posted about it on LinkedIn and said we need volunteers, and it's just interested me, and so I signed up and I went, and it's some of the coolest volunteering I've ever done.
What do you do?
So most of the time we're doing like mock interviews. It's job readiness. So they're trying to help prepare people. So when you get out of prison, what are the ways in which you can have the best chance of success. The program's called Breakthrough, if anybody wants to volunteer. And it's really one of the coolest things I've ever done in my entire life. And you go in and these women, in the first two cases, they have handwritten their resumes over and over hundreds of times until it's perfect so that they can present it to you, so that they can practice their interview. And some of these women haven't had anyone visit them for years. And so you're coming in and you're being their cheerleader and their advocate, and you're helping them practice interview for like what their next chapter of their life is going to look like. And before you even get into the room, you can hear them cheering, just like they're jumping and dancing and screaming, just like, yes, yay! Like they are like, I have never experienced enthusiasm like this ever in my life, because these are women who, the world kind of gave up on and said, and some of them were incarcerated where they were literally 7 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, and they have been in jail ever since. And
for
so
their whole lives.
Yeah. And so they're about to get out and they have a felony, which makes it really hard for them to find employment. 2, they probably have very little education. Mm-hmm. 3, they have no money, so they don't have a cell phone. Like, can you imagine trying to apply for a job if you don't have a phone number for your employer to call you at? You don't have a way to apply to an online application. Like, the odds are totally against them. And yet this program has such a high success rate that 96% of people who go through this program do not end up back in prison. And to me, I'm like, this is the best volunteering I've ever done, because I'm all about efficiency, and that is efficient.
We are so sad. You have said so many things that I'm like, God, sometimes I forget how similar we are. I'm also all about efficiency. Yeah. That would make a big difference. And this is called Breakthrough?
Yes, Breakthrough. And so many nonprofits are just a hot mess, and I volunteer, and by the time I'm done, I'm like, I think that person might be worse off than when I started, because what a mess.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who have volunteered have had that feeling at least once.
So sad, but Breakthrough is not like that at all. Like, I did not expect to find hope by going into prisons. That is the last place I would have ever guessed that I would have thrived as a volunteer.
Wow.
I love it. I feel like incredibly passionate about it. Like, these people, I have always been a pessimist.
Yeah.
Same. Until I started volunteering with this organization. And I'm like, if these people, who all of the odds are against them, can be optimistic and can be positive, then what is wrong with me? Like, girl, get it together. Like,
that is a great point.
If they're going to go on with their lives, and I volunteered recently to take headshots for some of the graduates, and they're working as paralegals, and they're like doing all this cool shit, and I'm like, you did it, girl. Like, you did it. And
I love this.
And they're so excited. They're so positive about, like, I want to be a better mom, or I want to be a better friend, or I want to participate in my community, and I want to be a great employee. And I know so many people who've had much better lives and much more privilege that are not that positive, including myself. I have a lot of privilege, and I'm still a negative Nancy sometimes. And these people, it totally transformed the way I look at the whole world. Like, it's really been good for me. So I'm going to keep at it.
Yeah, because when you're saying this, I'm like, these people are having to go out into the world with a blank slate, but it's not even a blank slate. No. It is like a tarnished slate that they have to carry the burden of their pasts, whether or not it was always their fault, even because of, like you said, some people were so young they could not even have been in the right mindset to make those decisions, or mental health has played into it. I think that's amazing. Yeah. We will link to Breakthrough in this podcast. So
that would be great.
Anyone really who's interested, go to the description. We will link to Foreward. We will link to Breakthrough. Lots to look at during and after this episode. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been really, really cool.
Wow, I didn't even plan to talk to Taylor about that today. And yet, just like me, there's always something new with Taylor. Last time I saw her was her telling me, oh yeah, I bought the house in Hawaii. We got that. And I'm like, of course you did. That's amazing. Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So the only last question I have from the whole Foreward thing, Well, actually, maybe I have a few. The shooting that you survived was the Platte Canyon one, and this was in 2006, I think. I want to say I was like early high school, right?
Yeah.
And so this is like, as far as our nation's and our culture's history with mainstream school shootings go, this is like 7-ish years after Columbine, but it's before Sandy Hook. It is before the STEM shooting. It is before Parkland. And I think something that was really interesting about the way you wrote the podcast, like you said, it's not about that event so much as the aftermath and what everybody is left in. And like you said, the media goes in, they do their job, which is frankly to sensationalize a lot of it.
Sure.
And then once they've used it up, they leave.
Right.
And then there's just like these falling smithereens that everyone else has to remain in.
Right.
Do you think, having survived something like this almost 20 years ago, which is really crazy to think about,
it is crazy.
What do you feel about what has or hasn't changed in the culture over the past 20 years, the past couple decades?
Well, here's the pessimist in me.
I'm ready.
It hasn't changed. And it makes me really sad and really angry because I don't think it will in my lifetime. And that's really a sad thing. But it like you said, so Columbine happened, and then fast forward, the shooting at my high school happened, and then right after my shooting there were multiple copycat shootings, which means other people were like, let's do it in the exact same way. Let's also take hostages from one classroom, and we'll bring in a backpack, and it will have a bomb in it, and there were other people who did the same thing. So after the shooting at my high school, there were quite a few others that were extremely similar, and that kind of set off where we are today. They'd never stopped. It continued up until now, so it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. But mine was kind of, I think, what set off that just tons and tons of progression of tons of shootings.
Yeah.
And nothing's changed. It's really
that is
sad.
How I kind of feel too.
Yeah, I don't think it's...
Yeah, I find it very, very, very difficult to be optimistic about this subject because it just seems like, and I think that culturally a lot of people have this same kind of benchmark after 2012 is when Sandy Hook happened, and those were first graders, and it was kind of like after that
didn't change things.
I can't imagine what it would take.
Well, yeah.
So... it's crazy, but I do think, and then this is me forcefully making myself be optimistic. A couple months ago, we had my friend Tyler Quick come on the show, and he is running for county commissioner in Westminster. And I asked him, because it can be really easy for me, I mean, in any political topic or conversation, it can be very easy for me to go to a pessimistic place. And I asked him, when it comes to millennials or Gen Z, what do you feel optimistic about? And the thing that he said was that millennials and Gen Z are very creative about being political in ways other than running for office and other than the typical legislative or judicial process. And so I think projects like Foreward are so important because they're the only way this is ever going to change is if we keep making people look at the human effects.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the news is there to sensationalize, the news is there to throw stats, the news is there to censor images. But the fact is, it's real, it's human, it's scarring, to your point. And so I just think that Foreward, I know this was 5 years ago, and maybe it's like not completely on your radar anymore compared to how much it was at one point, but I just think it is amazing that you did that.
And I started volunteering for this organization less than a year ago, and it's like completely changed my perspective on many, many things. So, a year from now, I might be saying something very different about what the future of America looks like.
That's true.
Like, I don't know. I'm one person. I don't know. And a friend of mine who's become a very dear friend who's 10 years younger than me, who is still an optimist, and I admire that about him, said recently, it only takes like one amazing leader to turn things around dramatically. You think about like Obama, like everybody got behind him, and there was lots of millions of people probably who helped make that possible and helped with the things he wanted to accomplish, but it was him.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we get somebody who's really powerful and a change maker who's really great, and sometimes we have one who's really bad, like we do right now. But maybe the next one will be even better than what anything we could imagine.
That's true.
There is a solution. We just haven't done it yet. So if you could just find someone who would just do it.
In our lifetimes would be great.
That would be great.
That'd be fabulous. Sooner the better.
If you just think about the logic of why does this keep happening, is we don't have very good attention to mental health services in our country. Almost always it's someone who's suffering from extreme mental illness, and is that person has access to guns. And I grew up in a community that was very gun positive. My dad hunted. He was into marksmanship. Nothing wrong with it. That's great. But if you were to ask my dad, would you be willing to jump through a few extra hoops in order to procure your gun so that your kid doesn't get shot at school? He would have been like, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
No big deal. Nobody, Republican or Democrat, nobody wants their kid to die in school. Nobody wants that. And even if you're super into gun ownership, I think most Americans who are super into gun ownership would be willing to take the same sort of steps that you take to get a driver's license.
Oh,
Is it
completely.
inconvenient? Yes. Is it a pain in the ass? Sure. Do we do it? Yes, because I'm not going to not have a driver's license. So if you really want one and you don't have anything to hide because you don't have a violent history and you don't have major mental illness, it shouldn't be a problem.
That is the way I feel about it. And I was going to say, yeah, parents should be on board. But honestly, look at us. Neither of us plans on being parents. And we both feel very strongly about it because it's not even just schools. It's movie theaters. It's grocery stores.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah. And I think you're so right. And I think that does make me feel a little more optimistic about it. And yeah, just will take one person. I'll tell you, last year, when Bernie Sanders and AOC came to town, I caught a glimpse of AOC waving out her SUV, and I could feel hope, optimism, change, positivity. I am not even someone who believes in any way that you should ever idolize a politician, but it was the energy of what she evokes in people. And so I'm a huge believer in that too. And I think, it's easy to be pessimistic, but you can find optimism.
Yeah, it exists. It just is exhausting sometimes, but it does exist. So I'm trying to lean into that too. Well, I'm learning.
It does. It does. So you mentioned your dad, which is interesting because this is the next segue I want to make.
Yeah.
I've told you this before, but something else that is really special to me about you is that, as listeners of the pod know, as you know, I am estranged from my parents. And it's easier now that I'm with my dad, I'm 18 years into it, and with my mother, I'm 4 years into it. But in the beginning, it was really, really hard in those first couple of years. And I come from a Hispanic family that is very pro parents no matter what. And it's one of those kind of philosophies in my family that it's who cares what your mom or dad did? That's still your mom and dad. And so you still have to respect them, and you still have to show up for them, and you still have to let them around you, and you still have to give them access to your life. And so it was really hard for me, especially with my mom, because we were much closer. In that first year, which was in 2022. And I've told you this before, you and I had a conversation in the fall of 2022 because it was for our friend Mariah's bachelorette weekend in Sonoma in California. And I will tell you this very honestly, I remember that conversation, the details of what it looked like outside, because it was so impactful to me. You had just experienced losing your dad.
Yeah.
And I was telling you about, I was really having a hard time because in my family, a lot of people in the first year that I was estranged from my mom would really turn the volume all the way up on the guilting, and they would say, what are you going to do if something happens to her? You're going to regret setting these boundaries. Because in my family, I'll tell you this very honestly, especially the brown side of my family, boundaries are looked at negatively as that's a white people thing. That is not a thing. And you're doing it, it's disrespectful. And so a lot of people have the ideology that if you do that, you're disrespectful and your karma is going to come for you. because something bad is going to happen and you're going to regret it. And so that weighed really heavily on me.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I'm not even a believer in that kind of stuff, really. Like, I'm not religious. I do believe in boundaries. I've been in therapy a long time. But you had a conversation with me that was really helpful. I'm wondering if you remember it or what you remember from it.
I do. And I have only had that conversation with like a couple people ever. And there's a little part of me that feels like nervous to talk about it publicly because it is so taboo to be estranged from a parent. But that's why we had this conversation, right? So my dad, you said I lost my dad. Just to clarify, my dad died. I was estranged from my dad, but he passed away. He's gone. I didn't lose him from estrangement. I lost him because he had a heart attack. But anyway, so we were talking about how difficult it is when you have a parent that's doing things or has done things throughout your entire life that are very toxic, that aren't good for you. And and I was talking about when I first became estranged from my dad, that a lot of people were giving me a lot of grief and saying, Taylor, you're going to regret this because one day he's going to die and you're not going to have him. And I told Kameron that my dad did die and I don't regret being estranged from him. And I can't believe I'm saying this out loud and who knows how many people are going to hear this. But that was the healthiest period of my relationship with my dad, is when we were not talking. And
I get that.
It is very sad that I lost him, and I also don't regret setting that boundary, because if a person is causing huge amounts of turmoil in your life, like if it was a friend, you would definitely cut them off.
Exactly.
If you had a friend who was like not respecting your boundaries and they're drinking too much and they're calling you and saying horrible things, and like, you wouldn't keep that person in your life. You'd think, like, you just wouldn't. And I don't think estrangement should be like that shouldn't be like, that's what I'll do the first time my parent pisses me off.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I think, it needs to be a pretty extreme situation in which for that to be the right decision for you. But sometimes it is the right decision for you. And I just, it's not really anyone else's business. If it's the right decision for you, then it's the right decision for you. And I think that's what you're referring to, right?
That's exactly what it was. And like, I remember because you lived it. So like, I could be and trust me, my therapist is extremely supportive of me drawing boundaries with my mom, and my sister and I are like a united front when it comes to this. And I can only say that conversation where you could speak from lived experience is what made me feel at peace about it. Yeah. Because I always wondered, and it was the hypothetical.
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
But then when you're like, hey, I'm going to be very real with you. I could easily have regret about this if I were to say, like, if I were to focus on the fact that this is something that has happened that is permanent, and if I were to romanticize the relationship into something that really in the time it wasn't.
Right.
And I think that was the helpful part to me. And it's like very common therapy talk to be like, we're all just doing the best at the time with what we have, or the knowledge that we have, or whatever. But at the end of the day, that really is true. And like you said, if you are someone who takes care of yourself, and there's someone who's being, presenting a lot of toxicity, and to your point, you've tried to work it out in other ways, and you've done your due diligence, sometimes that is just the solution, and it's no one else's business. If it feels right for you, I think what it is it helped me trust myself. Yeah. Because you trusted yourself and you didn't regret trusting yourself. Yeah. Yeah. So to this day, I have to give Taylor her flowers. It honestly changed my life to have that conversation, to move forward and be able to work on myself without leaving a part of my brain in this like weird guilt purgatory. Yeah. So thank you.
I'm glad. It is, I'm not gonna lie, like, it is weird and confusing when you lose that person, of course, because my dad had some good qualities and some really bad qualities, right? And when you're grieving a person, or at least in my experience, it's easy to put that person on a pedestal, and a lot of people in my life did kind of go, well, he had no flaws and he was a perfect man, and I'm like, well, no. Yes, he was an excellent salesman. I think he really cared about financially supporting our family, and that's how he showed his love, and that's awesome. And we never went hungry. Like, there were lots of things that he did that I can absolutely admire, and there were things that were really not good. And so, yeah, when you lose that person, obviously it's extremely confusing, and more people will give you grief about, well, you should have been, you should have, but it wouldn't have made his grieving better or worse if I had, it's what I needed to do at the time.
I think that's the other thing, is when you set a boundary with your parents and people do look at it as like disrespectful to create space between you and them, they assume that you have forgotten all their good qualities.
Right.
And they assume that it's easy for you. And I think having that conversation with you made me realize, like, no, she gets it, because it's not that I think my mom is a terrible, unforgivable person.
No, not at all. No, it's just they didn't honor the boundaries that we needed them to honor. And in my case, it was an alcoholism issue, and many times over the years my mom had given him the ultimatum of, like, you got to cut this out, and then we never left, and that's fine, and that was her decision, but I wasn't an adult, so I couldn't make that decision, right?
That part.
And then eventually, once I was an adult, at some point things got really crazy when they were getting a divorce, and he would call me very drunk every night saying horrible things, and I told him, like, if you would like to drink on your own time, that is fine, but you are not allowed to call me while you are drunk. This is not. And he honored that for about a year. And then we went on a trip to Texas. And I intentionally wanted to go on this trip to Texas alone to spend time with each of my grandparents and get to know them as people. And there's certain conversations you're willing to have when you don't have a big audience, you know?
Oh, for sure.
So I went to go visit his dad. He decided to invite himself, which, okay, fine. But in that year, he hadn't been drinking in front of me, which was great. He was honoring that boundary, and I really appreciated that. And on that trip, he drank a lot, like through the whole duration of the trip. And then on the flight home, he ordered, it was like an hour flight or something. It was just from Austin. It wasn't very long. And he ordered multiple drinks. Like, the flight attendant came down the aisle, and he's like, well, you won't have time to come back, so could you bring me 2 scotches? So he just downed them. Oh,
my Lanta.
So I had written a note to my brother, and I said, it's your choice when we get off the plane where you'd like to go, but I am not going to go with Dad, because I'm not going to have him drive home. I'm not going to get in his car when he's been drinking. I'm not going to do that. And so we got off the plane. I ran to go get my luggage, and when they found me, my dad said, like, all right, are you ready to go? And I said, I'm going to go get on the light rail, because I am not getting in a car with someone who's just gobbled down 2 scotches in a short period of time. And he said, well, what do you mean I'm not drunk? And I said, that's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
The fact that you are not drunk when you have just taken 2 double scotches down one after.
In a flight from Austin to Denver, very short.
You have a problem. You've always had a problem, and I can't do this anymore. You're not on it. So... And we did briefly, before he passed away, we're back in communication. We weren't close, but we got to have a couple interesting conversations. But anyway, you just can't, like, if that was anyone else in my life who was behaving that way, I wouldn't have allowed it. And I don't know why, just because it's your parent, that you're supposed to turn a blind eye when it's like causes you sadness and anxiety and stress. And it's just, anyway, yeah.
Well, that insight was, again, life-changing for me. It was so helpful to me. So I had to make sure, just publicly, to tell you. Amazing. Thank you. Honestly, one of the most helpful, and it was a short conversation. It was a 10-minute conversation in the back of a van after we'd gone to wineries. I had not quit drinking yet myself, so it was short, but it was impactful, so thank you.
Yeah, well, it's good to be able to have these vulnerable conversations with our friends, because sometimes you just feel alone, and you're like, I'm the only one dealing with this, and that's almost never the case.
No, and that's exactly it. That made all the difference for me.
Yeah.
Well, in every respect, thank you for being so open and vulnerable and sharing today. Of course, we're not done, because now it's time for us to play a game that you're very familiar with as a listener of the pod. It's Sip, Save, or Spill.
Okay.
And it's completely up to you how we play. Whatever order, whether you want to pick, you want me to pick, you want me to read, you want to read, you want to answer first, it's up to you.
I think we start with least heavy and then work our way to heavy, given that the conversation has been fairly heavy.
Yeah, we'll take a break.
It's like Valentine's Day, right? So let's talk about something fun and fluffy, and then we can go back to the heavy. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's so okay. And it is 2 days till Valentine's Day. So first of all, let's give a shout out to Taylor's partner, Kevin, who I adore.
He's the best.
What's your favorite thing about Kevin? This isn't even a sip, save, or spill question, by the way. This is because I want to ask.
He takes such good care of people. Like when our friends are sick, he'll take them soup. If he knows that, like the other day, we have some friends who, one of the two partners, her mother is dealing with dementia, and they were needing to like de-wire something in the battery so that she wouldn't drive the car because she keeps forgetting she can't drive the car. And Kevin was like on the phone with them trying to help them like take apart the car within a short period of time because they had like 5 minutes to do it before mom was going to be home. And he's just so sweet. He just takes care of people. He really looks out for people, and he really cares about his friends and family and community, and it's a really neat thing to see. He takes good care of me too.
He does. He is that guy.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
I will say his aura is very warm. He likes to be barefoot.
He does.
Which
I paint his toenails. When I met him, he painted his toenails. Now I get to do it. So
I was just going to say that. There are many things to admire about Kevin. My favorite thing is painted toenails all the time. It is so cute.
It's pretty cute.
But he's kind. He's thoughtful. The vibes are so correct.
Yeah.
You did a very good job.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I feel really fortunate to have found him.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to do Sip, Save, or Spill, but we had to do the shout out in honor of Valentine's Day.
Of course.
All right, well, this is the sip jar. I'm going to shake it up, and then I want you to pick.
Oh, I get to pick. Okay.
Yeah, you pick.
Okay. What's a word that you constantly mispronounce? Oh boy.
Oh my God. I literally had this happen the other day.
I can't think of a good answer. But it's a funny question because my grandmother mispronounces words all the time that I'm like, you're 90 years old. How do you still not know that word is
That's a really hard. Let me see the handwriting on that. Okay, my cousin Zach wrote this. I was like, I know I didn't ask that question because you know what? It's hard to say what you pronounce wrong because you might not even know it.
Because I'm sure I do, and I'm sure I've been made fun of for it, but I can't remember what it was.
But I could say things that other people pronounce wrong. I had a boss who used to say pacifically instead of specifically, and it drove me up the wall. But I did mispronounce something the other day. Okay, first of all, naivety is really hard for me because some people say naivete. And I don't know, like, are you being fancy or is that like how I'm supposed to be saying it?
I don't know which one is correct.
I don't either. To this day, I don't know. So if you have feedback, audience, let us know. Naivety or naivete? I honestly don't know.
I thought it was naivete, but maybe not.
And there was something, I remember there was something when we were recording the Lucas audiobook that I'm like, I wrote this, and believe it or not, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but I can't remember what the word is.
Down
yeah, I'll post it on Instagram.
I can't think of a good answer. Can we pick another one?
Pick another one.
I can't.
That one is too hard.
In the middle of the night, I'll think of something and be like, that would have been hilarious. But
we'll tell you later, fam.
I don't know. Okay, let's try again.
Redo.
What is your favorite comfort movie or TV show? This I can do because I studied film and I love movies so much. Me. If I am sick or if I am sad, I watch Forrest Gump. I've seen it 9 billion times. Or As Good as It Gets. Have you seen this movie?
Wait.
Oh my God, if you haven't, you have to see it. Jack
As
Nicholson and Helen Hunt.
No.
And there's a line where he says, "You make me want to be a better man."
Oh.
And it's so good. Why have you not seen this movie?
I can't believe I haven't.
Oh, you have to see it.
As Good as It Gets.
As Good as It Gets. It's old.
Is that from the 90s?
Yeah, but it's so good.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm very willing to watch that because I'm in my Helen Hunt era because I'm watching Mad About You.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Which she's like stars in.
Yes.
And now I'm in love with Helen Hunt.
I love her. I just read something online that I'm in a Facebook group called Girls Love Travel, and it's mostly solo women travelers. Mm-hmm. And this woman sat down at a bar and Helen Hunt sat down next to her in LA, and I'm like, I would have peed my pants.
I
like
would pass
that.
Away.
Oh, or Jack Nicholson, either one. Have you seen that really funny interview? Or it's not an interview. She wins her Oscar, and then Jack Nicholson like sneaks up behind her.
No.
And she just like freezes like, oh my God, Jack Nicholson. And he's like, you look like one of my ex-girlfriends. And she's like, do I look like your new one? It's so funny. It's so like good. Exactly how I would react if Jack Nicholson walked up to me.
Oh my God. How have I not watched As Good as It Gets?
Okay, what's your favorite comfort movie or TV show? This is my favorite topic.
It depends on the mood, but I have like 5 that I alternate.
Okay.
I watch, if it depends, I guess, what kind of down I'm feeling. Because if I need to feel nostalgia, I will watch The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen The Wizard of Oz a million times. I know it line for line. I went to the Sphere to watch it, and like I knew every single thing they cut out. That's just like a part of my DNA at this point. Same with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The OG, the new one sucks.
I kind of liked the new one. You
didn't
you?
I thought I didn't like that they made the prince a bandit.
Yeah.
But you know why? I'm such a purist.
Sure.
I mean, I'll tell you, I loved Wicked and resented Wicked because I'm like, this is not the real Wizard of Oz story.
Seen the second one yet, but I'm going to see it this week, and I wanted to see them back to back. I've already seen the first one, but I want to watch them all in a day.
I will say, I wish I had done that. So you're doing the right thing. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to see it on Friday. Okay, that's 2.
Of course, I also watch Sex and the City.
Oh, me too. I've watched that a million times.
The show and the movies.
Me too.
Yes. And I will say the old school Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, that was a good one. Mm-hmm.
Because it reminds me of like, I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe this was a universal experience. You went to elementary school in the mountains too.
Yeah.
Because I went to Coal Creek. Mm-hmm. Lots of days where we couldn't go outside to play for recess because it was snowy. Because you know, in the mountains of Colorado, we could get 3 feet of snow in a night.
Yep.
That for some reason was like a VHS the school had on deck, and so I have seen that movie a million times,
a really good
and it
movie.
Just takes me back.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel so happy. But like Golden Girls, Sex and the City for TV.
Yeah.
We're now Mad About You. I'm a big Mad About You stan now.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it, I highly recommend. It's literally about Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. They're in their early 30s, and they're just a married couple in New York City who are both neurotic. Like each of them is so neurotic with each other, but it's so romantic to me because I'm like, I could find someone as neurotic as me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I want them to be my mom and dad. So that's why if I met Helen Hunt, I'd be like, will you be my mom?
I know.
So yeah, those are mine. That was a way better question.
Yeah, I'm glad we tried again.
Yeah, no, that was so
Sorry,
that was
I had
so
a
good.
Brain fart and had nothing to say on the
No, the nice thing is you make up the rules. So if you want to pick another one, it's
great.
up to you. All right, we're moving on to Savor.
Okay, Savor. What does home feel like to you?
Ooh.
This one I actually feel fairly confident.
You do?
I historically have not felt confident. I just thought I was like one of those people who was like never gonna find where it felt home, and I have found it, and I'm so excited.
Oh my God!
11 years ago, I went to Hawaii for the first time on a business trip, and I was like, someday I'm gonna live here. This is the coolest place I've ever been in my entire life, and I love every single thing about it. And I just bought a home there.
Yes.
Less than a month ago. Like it's very fresh and new, and I feel like home when I am in Kona. There's just something, it's just like you just sink in, and it's just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Wow. And I think a lot of people feel that about Colorado, and I'm so happy for those people, and I've never felt that in Colorado, and I was really jealous of those people.
Never?
No, but I finally found it of like, this is what they're talking about. This is what it feels like to feel home. Like, this is what, like, my mom loves Denver, and I love that for her, but I just am not, I don't know, it's not my jam so much. Although my community is here, and my community feels like home, and so that's why I stay part-time. So.
Yes, we're very lucky to have the community we have, for sure.
Yes.
God, that's so interesting because I am with Linda. That's Taylor's mom.
Which is good. If you live in Colorado, you should love Colorado.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're lucky to live in Colorado. There's a lot of really cool stuff about Colorado.
Yeah. For me, Denver is it. I have been all over the place, and like, no matter where I go, Denver feels like home. But I think a lot of that is the nostalgia, and a lot of it is the community itself. But also, like, you know, anyone who follows me on social media knows I literally post a picture almost every day. It's probably insufferable at this point of off my balcony. I look at the cash register building, and like, that is home to me.
You do have an amazing view. Like, one of the best.
I am so fortunate to every morning get to go to my window and look at downtown Denver up close and personal. And I'll tell you, anyone knows, I do not take it for granted.
Yeah,
it is,
that's great.
I compare it, I told my friend Verinia, I compare this to like when people have babies, which is happening more and more now, obviously, as we go into our 30s.
Yeah.
People post pictures of their babies like all the time. And I'm like, if you can post your baby 1 million times per week, I can post my baby, which is the cash register building.
Absolutely. It's a thing that brings you joy and makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
And like,
it feels
you're
like
entitled
home.
to that. Yes.
And
yeah,
I can
cool.
like, you know, I've spent in the distance, I can see Lakewood, and in the distance, I can see
that's cool.
Highlands Ranch.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I see a storm over Highlands Ranch, I will text Teresa and I'll say, "Is it raining at your house right now?" And she's like, "How did you know that?"
Psychic person,
and I'm like, I can literally see the storm. I mean, I'm 40 stories up. I can see the storm in Highlands Ranch. And it's like, knowing that my people are like there, and like I could probably see to your house.
Yeah,
like if
so.
you shot a flare up from your house, I bet I could see it. I love that.
On the 4th of July, you can definitely see where my house is because we have the most fireworks per square foot of anywhere in the Denver metro area.
Oh my God.
So my neighborhood will still be going off like long after everyone else has settled down. So.
Then Denver loves fireworks.
Oh my God.
That's the other good thing about
wild.
the balcony. I see them all over the city. 4th of July and New Year's Eve.
Yeah, yep.
People love that. It's a little less scary on New Year's Eve because it's not as much of a fire hazard.
True, yeah.
But yeah, just looking at Denver feels like home to me.
I'm so
I guess
glad
I was
that
fortunate that
yeah.
that's my default place.
Yeah, that's
I
lucky.
fell into it.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting to me because I can't imagine going somewhere else and finding that feeling.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's weird to have discovered it like in my 30s to be like, wait, I was missing out on this all this time. But you know, whatever, I found it.
Better late than never.
Absolutely.
And
great.
Now you get both.
Yeah, now I get both.
The community and that peace.
It's like perfect. I still get to be near family and friends most of the time. And then when it gets cold in Colorado, I leave.
Yeah, she's like
for a little while. Yeah.
Honestly, when this airs, are you going to be in Hawaii?
Yes, I am. I will be looking out at the ocean.
While you guys are listening to this, she is enjoying that deep blue that she saw in her aura.
Exactly.
All right, so our last jar is the spill jar.
Okay.
God, I got to fill this up again.
Okay.
We have a few remaining questions.
Let's see. What is the weirdest thing you thought of as a kid?
Oh my God. I feel like immediately I have an answer, which is really
then
weird.
Please answer, because I don't know if I know mine yet, but I will figure it out.
So I always wanted to write stories. In early elementary school, I wrote stories about historical things that happened. So I was very into Titanic. I was very into the Hindenburg. But in like 4th grade, I got all of the Oz books for my birthday. And there are 14 written from 1900 to 1920 when L. Frank Baum died. And I made it through those books, and then I was like, I have to write about a fictional land. But my creativity only went so far because it was also around the time that Jim Carrey's Grinch movie came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I had like a spiral notebook, and I filled it with like, honestly, I probably got to like 40 pages of this story called like Escape from Grinchland or something.
That's adorable.
But it was
wonderful.
like, it was a land full of Grinches. And there was like a little boy who got lost in there. And I wish upon a
that
star.
That sounds like a nightmare.
No, it was
land
dark.
Of only Grinches.
It was dark. This was also a little dark period of my life. And to this day, I was just thinking about this the other day. I wish I could find that notebook because it was bizarre. I just remember writing really bizarre characters. Like there was I want to say there was like a princess made out of jelly. Like it was fucking weird.
Someone should make this movie. Like,
someone should make this movie.
Creepy.
It sounds like an acid trip, but I was 10. But I was just thinking, that is crazy you picked that, because I was just thinking, like, where the hell did I get that from? So that's probably one of the weirder things.
Yeah, I am now remembered my weird thing that this is embarrassing. But I was like obsessed with mummies. I saw the movie The Mummy, and then I was obsessed with mummies, and I wanted to go to the exhibit at the Nature and Science Museum all the time to look at the mummies. Yeah. And then this, so my dad was very into science. This was one of the cool memories I have with my dad, is that we did the science fair together every year, and I won every year for, well, I got first place 2 years in a row, and then this next story I'm going to tell you I got second place because I broke a lot of rules.
Ooh.
I killed rats and mummified them.
Like you actually killed them?
As a child, yes.
Like with rat traps?
No, like my dad taught me how to etherize a rat in a Rubbermaid box, like from Petco. I know, this is a horrible story.
Yeah. Okay, I did not see that coming.
I know. And then we did one control, and then we did like the South American mummification method and then the Egyptian method to see which one was most effective. So I only got second place that year because you're not allowed to kill animals, and we did. But
a fair rule.
Yeah. When I cleaned out his house, I found the mummified Egyptian rat. It is still looking good.
Wait, okay.
I mean, I didn't keep it. It's gone now, but it's...
Rewind, because I have a sincere question.
So gross.
I didn't know there were two different kinds of mummification.
Yeah, there's like a different kind that involve. I don't really remember the details. It's something about like the mud in a bog somehow. I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm going to be doing a deep dive. Thanks so much. I'm going to be doing a mummification deep dive, Egyptian versus South American.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It was a very gross and strange choice for a child, but I learned a lot doing that. Like,
some children want to grow up and be morticians. I mean, it's a very natural curiosity. And mummies, I get that. And as far as the tragedy aspect, as someone who was obsessed with the deaths on Titanic and Hindenburg, I can hardly judge.
Yeah, well, Titanic was also an excellent movie.
Oh, God.
Good movie.
Something about me that my friend Logan just made fun of. I watch Titanic often, but I start it when it hits the iceberg.
Really?
I don't watch the first half.
That's so funny. I feel like I'm like not interested after they hit the iceberg.
What?
I want the romance. I don't want
I want
stress.
The destruction. Because the thing about Titanic, for 1997... Jesus Christ, it is so good.
It really is.
Like, that looks so legit.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how they did that. Same thing with Jurassic Park. Like at the time that it was made, it's scary. I watched it recently. It's so good. I'm like, how did they?
It's so good. It's honestly, sometimes I feel like it's better than the new ones because the CGI is very apparent.
Right.
And with the old school tricks, sometimes you didn't know what was real. Like, it was good at looking more real even though it wasn't CGI. But yeah, Titanic, like remember when we were kids it was split up in 2 VHSs?
Yeah.
I only liked watching the second one.
Interesting.
That's why I do it, because I'm like, no, I'm just gonna watch the second tape.
All right.
I know.
You're like, if you watched it today, would you just go only watch the second half?
I have, because you know what? Also, just watching the second half is like the length of a normal movie.
It's really long. That's
so
true.
If I'm watching it with someone, I'll humor them and I'll watch it. Like I watched it with Michael maybe like a year ago, and we watched the whole thing. And I was like, I'll suffer through the first half.
You don't enjoy like the romance?
I do. I will say my favorite part of the first half. Before we go, my favorite part of the first half is when she's like threatening to throw herself off the back of the boat, and then he goes to save her, and then she slips and she almost falls off anyway. Morbid, I know, but like I love that scene. Yeah. But other than that, no, I don't like when they're like at the front of the ship. I don't like when he's drawing her.
No.
Just the turmoil.
So exciting and erotic. I don't know.
I know. Well,
do you have any like romancy movies that you like? Are you a huge fan of The Notebook or like something in honor of Valentine's Day? Is there something?
That's a great question. I will say the most. First of all, I love The Notebook.
I do too.
I mean, again, it is a little because of the tragic, and she doesn't remember him at the end.
Yeah.
But they die together, right?
Yeah.
They both end up dying.
It's extremely romantic.
It's so
romantic.
Really
sad, but it's really romantic.
A lot of people think it's toxic because Noah does like the whole like, say you'll go on a date with me, or I'm going to jump off the Ferris wheel. I agree it's toxic, but I think it's time that we admit sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's toxic and romantic.
Yeah,
he didn't hurt anybody.
That's true. He wasn't serious.
No, I love The Notebook. I think my favorite romantic movie. God, I'm trying to think of one that's not a tragedy. And I am. What's your favorite romance that that doesn't end tragically?
Maybe As Good as It Gets, which some people would say that's not a romance movie because it's about a man who has extreme OCD and he's an asshole. He's a really mean man.
Oh.
And for some reason, he's just like charming to me. And Ellen Hunt falls in love with this strange man. And I don't know. It shouldn't be romantic, but it is. I guess that's my weird romance thing. Is like,
yeah,
these strange characters
they're
that
weird,
are raw and peculiar, and yet they
yeah.
still find each other. And I don't know.
I will say, have you ever seen You've Got Mail?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Mm-hmm.
It's a good one, but I watched that with a friend like a year ago, and I felt like it was toxic.
Some of them aged really poorly.
Yeah, I'm like trying to
well.
think of a rom-com even that I didn't end up thinking. I know there is one. Damn, maybe this says a lot about me. I do it. Well, the other thing that most people will know, I watch a lot for some reason. Like my niche of movies is sad movies about AIDS. So most of the I've seen a lot of very romantic movies. Like the movie 1985 has a scene where, unfortunately, his lover had died a while back, and then he dies, and then there's this scene at the very end, which I think you could construe or perceive as a happy ending. Mm-hmm. They're like in a club dancing and they find each other again. It's devastating. Yeah. But it's so romantic.
I actually haven't seen it, so I will watch it.
Oh, it's all in black and white, shot on film. Oh, gorgeous.
Cool. I'll like it.
Yeah, 1985. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, on that note, Taylor, is there anything you'd like to leave our friends with before we depart for Valentine's Day?
Oh, shoot. I forgot to think about this question. I know this is what you normally ask at the end.
It could be anything.
I don't know. I guess as I was saying in the beginning, we all have these periods of our lives that get heavy and dark and morbid, and then we have moments where it's light. So if you happen to be in one of those periods of lightness, lean in. Please lean in while you can. And if you're in one of the dark periods, know that eventually it will get light, at least for a minute. And then you will lean into that. So maybe just remember that it comes in, it ebbs and flows, and sometimes things are really good.
Everything is a wave. Everything is a pendulum. Yes. Everything ebbs and flows. And I think that's a really good point. I will say she's exactly right. It's so easy to say, I don't want to enjoy anything because I'm just scared because it's going to end. Yeah. Guess what? It is going to end.
Yeah.
That's why you should enjoy it.
Exactly.
Just accept that it's going to end and enjoy it. You can do both. And it's really hard sometimes, but you can do both.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's our sage advice from Kameron and Taylor.
That's what we got.
All right. Thank you again.
Thanks, Kameron.
I appreciate you so much. I love you.
I love you too. This was great. Thanks so much for having me.
Anytime. She'll be back.
I'll be back.
As always, friends, besides happy Valentine's Day, live your best life. Don't be a dick. I love you. Goodbye.